Hello, Teresa back again with page number 3. Today we're going to look at the patchwork page. Now, we briefly looked at this earlier on in the introductory, so we'll have a greater look now. This page is made up of 12 2-inch by 2-inch squares. Now, over some of the squares are pieces of lace. There's a piece of lace here. There's a piece here and here, and here, on quite a lot of them actually, and here. Now, it's not coming out too clear up there on the screen, but this is a flower that's been appliqued. We've done that on the cover, appliqued onto the background of the patchwork. That is antique net or lace. I've also used some stitches here, cross stitch, herringbone stitch. I think that's all, and of course running stitch, which forms the basis of slow stitch. So what we'll do, we'll start immediately, so I'll close that up and we will get going. Right, move that. So first of all, what we need is, as always, a nice strong background, a backing fabric, and the calico is my preferred backing, but you might like something else. Get rid of those bits. Now, I've made a start on this, as you can see, to save time, because you really don't need me to see, you don't need to see me sew 12 little squares together. So I've made a start. I've sewn 8, and you'd be surprised how quickly it was to do that. Now I've saved 4 here. We'll sew the 4 together. Now what we want to do, I just took them out as they were put in the pile, but what we do need to ensure is that we don't end up with some of them like this touching the same fabric. So I'm just going to jumble these up. There, I almost did that there. See, now I've got 2 of these, which, right, that's fine, isn't it? That's not touching. No, so the next thing to do then is to take them and put the right sides together, so the 2 pattern sides are face to face. Now you might want to pin them just to hold them in place. I'm just going to use 1 pin. You might want to use more, it's entirely up to you. Then using your thread double, and this is ordinary sewing thread, nothing special about this, ordinary sewing thread, nice strong one, knot the end. Can you see? Oh, let's make that bigger. That's what's happening, isn't it? Right, I think it's hard to see this because this is a pale green. Now it's a calico, and I dyed this with acrylic paint for another project, and it's actually a really lovely green, but on the screen it's just looking sort of like a washed out colour, but it's actually a very attractive colour, and it's going well with the pale yellows in this. But anyway, back to this. So we now have right sides together, a knot in our thread. Now start off here and just go make 1 running stitch and then go over it again. So you're going to make 1 running stitch on top of the other one, and that will secure the end. And then nice, neat, take it up here, close together running stitches this time, because you don't want any gaps in your finished patchwork piece. So keep the stitches together. Take the pin out now, and we have quite a nice little running stitch. So we'll take that all the way to the end, should have used a different colour, I think. Now at the end, you're going to do the same as you did at the start. Just go over one of the running stitches just to secure it so it doesn't undo, and snip that off. So the first one done. Now we're going to do the same again, face to face. So pattern to pattern, and we'll do exactly the same. So just one pin, hold it together, re-knot the end of the fabric, what am I talking about? The end of the cloth, the thread. Oh, I think it must be coffee time. My brain's frazzled today. So one running stitch on the other, just to secure it. And then straight along to the end. Straight down, secure it as we did before when we get to the end. I've just seen I'm actually using at the moment one strand of thread and not double, and I'm not too worried because this is a very strong, good quality machine thread, sewing thread, so I'm not too worried. But it is best to use it. See, look, that's quite nice and strong. It is best to use it double. I feel happier if I use it double. Right, and the last one. So here we go again. See how quickly it is to do this. Now these are 2 inches square, and they're on the usual size calico, which I believe is 8 by 6, isn't it? I'm sure 6 by 8, yes. So back in as usual, 6 by 8, and these small squares are 2 inches or 5 centimeters square. Now there were more squares on my sample. I'm really scratching my nails on my sample because, as I explained in another video, my book, my journal is bigger than the one we're making here. That's probably why to me it seems quite that we're doing this very quickly, because of the difference in size. But then it's like anything, isn't it? Once you do something, the next time you do it, it's easier, quicker. Right, now we can lay it that way, or we can lay it that way. You know what, I don't think there's much in it really, is there? It really isn't worth worrying about. So while it's that way, next thing to do is faces together again, right sides together, put the little strip over there. So now you have the back facing up. That's the back facing up because the 2 right sides are together, and we're going to pin them. Now find the joins where the 2 join. You've got a join there and the join there, the seams, and pin them. And that way, when you open it up after sewing, the seams should be matched. But they won't be matched on this one because this, for some reason, has ended up bigger, so I can't match the seams there. But I don't care. Things like that don't worry me unless it's really needed for a certain design and precision is called for. But it's not called for in this. And anyway, there are ways and ways of disguising that. So we're going to do exactly the same here as we did on the smaller seams. I'm going to run it down here. Once again, treat the ends as always. Double running stitch, one on top of the other. Oh, I hope this thread's going to last to the end. Oh, I bet it doesn't. Little running stitch all the way to the end now. All the way. The sun's coming out and I think it's making the colour of this fabric look even more washed out. I did intend to do this in black and white, alternating the squares, black, then white, then black, then white, and so on. But I thought, no, it's not. I mean, I'm sure it will look lovely if you decide to do that. But for me, it was going to not be in keeping with the journal. I think it, oh, there we go. I pulled it out. I think that might have been too stark for the type of journal that I'm intending to make. However, that might fit in with your colour scheme, and it does look really nice, black and white. Ends up looking like a chessboard, doesn't it, or a draft board. Right. Oh, I think I'm going to have to thread this needle. Oh, would you believe it? I felt so sure there was enough, especially as oh, it's come undone again. Right, that's a sure sign that I need to thread that now. I need more thread in there. So where are you? Right, so let's thread this. Oh, it's so annoying. It's like that feeling when you're using the sewing machine and you know the bobbin's about to run out and you have about 2 inches to do and you're looking at the bobbin and you think, no, 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 please don't run out. And just as you're about to finish, 1/2 inch from the edge, guess what happens? Bobbin runs out, doesn't it? Alright, it's so maddening. Right, this I will use double. And I'm just going to, oh my goodness. Right, I should tidy that off later, not that off later. I'm just going to go back over a few of those stitches. And there we go. Oh, back on the home straight. So, I've noticed my running stitch has got bigger. So I'm going to lift that up a little bit. This camera is autofocus, so I've noticed that sometimes if I move too much, it's very, very quick to adjust, which is nice, it's handy, but not when you're doing something with so many maneuvers in a piece of work. Right, well, I feel like I should be singing hallelujah at this point. That was fraught with all sorts of problems coming down there. It's so small. Right, remove the pins and open it up. Now, if you feel you need to iron yours flat, then by all means iron it. But I think this might be okay. Right, now can you see here, this bit here, where it doesn't match? That doesn't match. Now, as I said, if this was say we were making a quilt for maybe a pram, or we were doing a cushion for a present, something special, we would actually match those. It would be necessary to match those, but because we are doing this as a piece of art and it's for a sample and we make up our rules of we've already established, this is fine. For what we need, background fabric, that is fine. Now, this is going to be popped on there. Nice little edge around there, which we might need later on. Now, it's up to you if you tack it. If you want to tack it, then fine. You need to pin it first, whichever way. If you're not going to tack it, then pinning is just good. It's just going to hold it in place for a while you start it off. and then the more stitching you do, the more pins you can take out. But just to start, I'm going to pin it all the way around to keep it flat. Now, as I said, if you'd like to tack it, these pins and the knit sewing needle, every time I'm sewing like now and doing the pins, they come up and they scratch the nail varnish off this nail. It's always off this nail, and that's why that nail always looks tattier than the others, and goodness knows they look tatty. But it's, I don't know if you find it as well, but it's so difficult to keep my nails looking decent, because my hands, and I know that you're going to identify with this, my hands are into so much messy stuff, rough stuff, and they're always busy doing something, that it's just impossible to keep them nice. I mean, my non-arty friends got beautiful nails, spend quite a lot of money on their nails. They say, Teresa, come along, get your nails done properly. But I think, what's the point? Because within a day or two, I'll be sitting here and I'll be working with something rough, or I'll be doing my own art journal covered in glue and paint and picking off the glue and the nail varnish. So I've more or less given up, really. Still, anyway, now that's my little rant. Now, if you're going to tack, which I'm not, but I'm just going to show you again how to tack, just in case you're thinking tack, I know what that means, but I can't remember. Just big, like great big running stitches over the pins at the edge to keep it in place. Okay, is that coming out? You see these big stitches at the end here? Tacking stitches, great big stitches all the way around, and then at the end of, when you've finished your piece of work, you pull them out. That's why they need to be big, so you can just pull them out. So look, I've gone round there now, so that is quite secure. Those two sides won't have enough thread to go right the way round. In fact, I haven't. So where I have tacked, used a nice tacking stitch there. Some of you might know it as basting, not as you would do your Sunday roast, but some people call this basting as well. So now we can take the pins out from where I've tacked, and it's quite secure. It's like quite secure there now. There you go. But I haven't tacked up here, so I'm leaving the pins. Now at this point you have an option. You have many ways to decorate this with slow stitch. On the example I showed you, I just did the running stitches around like boxes, boxes. Boring. By the time I finished that, I thought my life was over. No, not really, that wasn't nice, but just to let you see how boring it was, just to repeat that is why I put the flower in the corner on the last one. So I'm not going to do that again. What I am going to do is work a little bit of beautiful lace here. I hope you can see that. It's actually gold thread, gold embroidery. It's machine made, manufactured on a black, let me see if I've got something. It's on a black netting. So I'm going to use a piece of that somewhere. Might use a piece of lace somewhere. I'm not sure about that. That might not be fine enough for such pale colours. I think the pale colours need something fine. This is beautiful. This is manufactured as well. It's so lovely. It's hard to know which is the back and which is the front. I think that's the back. Oh my goodness, I'm not sure at all. We call that front. And I'm going to put that somewhere. Oh, that does look... Yeah, that looks nice on the lemon. And I have another one of these. Another black piece. So I'm just going to hold these down in. I do like that. That looks really lovely on the lemon. Let's see. See, I don't want to overthink this. This isn't, we don't want to overthink anything. But at the same time, we do want it to look pleasing on the eye. I think that might be okay. And I'm really not sure about this. Oh, what shall I do? What shall I do with the drunken soldier? Right, oh, and I like that lemon so much, it's almost a shame to cover it up. Let me see if I, perhaps if I cut this bit off, because that is quite a heavy, dense looking piece there. Let's see how that looks. Oh, that might look better. Yes, and then that, I won't throw that precious piece there because that will come in useful for something else. Let's put that there. So I'm going to pin this piece there. That can now live there. I'm quite happy with the placements of the rest. So I'm going to take that off and pin it down. Now, once again, if you feel happy attacking, ooh, yeah, I'll stick that there. Why I'll put that there is because here is where, this is a very small square, it doesn't reach either. It's very short there. Look, it doesn't meet either of those. So I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. And that's it, cover it up that way. Disguise it. And here. See, it's so easy to disguise any little faults, or there aren't any faults, there are just things like weeds. They're where they shouldn't be. And it's the same with this. So, and that one can go there. I'm not tacking it, I'm just going to pin it. Right, so already that is taking shape. Already that is beginning to look like a piece of fabric with texture. So it's gone from a plain calico background to something now that I'm happy with. I just wish that you could see these colours as they really are, because they're quite lovely. So that is that one now. Now, as I said on the piece I showed you, it was very angular. Very angular. I mean, angular. It was very pointy. It had lots of angles. There was nothing smooth and round about it. So what I'm doing with this one, I'm going to make this round. I'm going to not do what I did before, follow the outline of the seams into boxes. I'm going to try something else. So I'm going to start here with just an ordinary little circle. It looks, I don't know where that came from. Oh yes, I do, from a book. Yeah, I bought a nice what is it, Disney classics. There's Jungle Book, I think that's a Lion King, Peter Pan, and 101 Dalmatians, inside a very small little like tote bag. And I bought them in I think it was the Works for only a couple of pounds, and they were sort of less than half price. And I thought, oh my goodness, I can't leave those. So I might have got two. And my poor partner, he's so good. He follows me around all the charity shops, all the book shops, And I call him my little mule, bless him, because he'll say, as I've paid, give him to me. And sometimes I look at him at the end of shopping and he looks like a mule. He's covered in my shopping bags. I have to say, they're not clothes or shoes. They are strictly charity shop, old bookshops. You know, just things that I always say other people, but you know what I mean by other people. I always think they're things that other people wouldn't look twice at. But yeah, bless him. He is lovely. He is very, very good to me. I got it right this time. Right, anyway, on that note, so I've stuck down the circle. I've only pinned it. And now I'm going to do a running stitch right the way around the edge of the circle. Nice, small running stitch. Don't want anything too big at this time, because at the moment we just want the outline of the circle. Right, now I can take this pin out. I can take that pin out because I've just sewn through the lace and it's now secured on the bottom, on the background fabric. So round we go. Now you could use any shape you wanted. You might just want to use the boxes themselves, the little patchwork boxes, or you might want to do what I'm doing, use a circle. You could use a triangle. You could even cut out a flower, find a flower and cut round, sew round that. You can do anything. Now someone's going to come up with something that can't possibly be done and say you're wrong. Well, no, you can't put a house brick on here and sew around it. The pins would never go through the house brick to secure it. You can't put a car on here either, because a car would be far too big. But in the context of what we are doing and our creativity, you can really do anything you want. I'm looking, I've got one eye on my scissors there, and I think you could open the scissors up, lightly draw around it with a fine pencil, or make a template even on a piece of paper, and sew around that. And that would look really neat, wouldn't it? Oh, I wish I'd thought of that. Next time. Right, see, now we're almost back to the beginning and it's taken no time at all. It's quite exciting. It's because I haven't done this before with a round template. I haven't done this. So it's quite exciting to see what's going to happen. But I think the lovely thing about sewing and doing this is that you don't know what you're going to end up with. And it's just such a surprise. Every time you do it, you get something different. And it's such a surprise. Look at that. Doesn't that look nice on the back? Perfectly round, because I've gone round the shape. It would be interesting if I hadn't gone round the shape and tried to do a round. It would be all over here. Like a helter-skelter. So, take the pins out from that now. Right, just one, but it's looking good. So I'm going, oh, I'm sorry, I keep moving that camera. So I'm going to place it again. I think I might pop it there. Let me change the colour of the thread as well. Now I'm using orange as well. Basically the threads I'm using are orange, green, lemon and a little bit of purple, and it's all to complement the yellow and the green in the background fabric. So although orange actually complements blue, doesn't it? For green we should be using red. Yeah, I might see if I've got some red. I did use it up last week and I haven't got round to replacing it. Well, I have actually. I ordered some threads from Amazon, but they're dragging their heels a little bit, which is quite unusual. I mean, if it were Christmas, I'd think, oh yeah, you know. But I've had to cancel something this morning, funnily enough, that has taken so long, and it should have been here weeks ago. And although they've kept me up to date, I think we know one of the nice things about using Amazon is that, you know, it delivers practically immediately. So I haven't heard back whether they've cancelled it. I expect it'll be on my phone when I've finished this. But I must admit, I am starting to use the high street shops more. My partner and I went to a lovely old-fashioned, what I call old-fashioned high street over the weekend. It wasn't the Rochester, the Dickens festival that I told you about. It wasn't down there. It was still in Kent, but it was a proper high street with a road going through the centre. There were a couple of there was a shopping mall there, but it was discreet, and there were lots of independent shops. It was lovely, and we were saying, you know, perhaps we should actually be supporting the independent traders now. I mean, of course it depends on how expensive these things are, but so many little shops have gone out of business around this way because of the larger shopping malls and places like Amazon as well. But Amazon is just so convenient. It's too convenient actually, because I have just sort of browsed and thought, oh my gosh, I must have that potato peeler with the black shiny handle. I can't live without that. I just must have that. And hey ho, next day it's delivered, and I look at it and think, oh my goodness, now did I really need that? I could have lived without that super duper potato peeler. For a start, I don't buy many potatoes, but that's just an example. Right, now I'm going to have trouble doing that because of my eyes, so I'm going to cut that there. That's it. So that's the second one. You see that? Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to carry on doing this off camera. So the next one might go there, or it might go there. You'll find the more places that you put it, the more shapes you're going to get. So from the first one, I've used it again, I've used it twice, and we've got a lovely shape there. So we've created 1, 2, 3 shapes just by using the circles. But if you'd like to count how many times it's broken up the squares, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times it's broken up one of the little patchwork squares. So I don't think the oranges work too well up there. So what I'll do now, I'll say goodbye, and I'm going to carry on, and I'll get back to you as soon as I've done this. Okay, now I might actually as well use some of the stitches that we've used, like feather stitch, even couching. See how I get on, how this looks, and I'll get back to you later. So until then, have a wonderful afternoon, morning, night, wherever you are, whatever your time zone, and take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye now. Hi, Teresa back again. I've finished off the example for our folder. So this is page 3 finished. I'll just run through what I did. At the top, I've used coffee dyed lace, and I've woven through it with a green thread. I've then sewn it onto the background, onto the patchwork and the calico. Here, the last frame of the last video, I started to go round, to sew round the circle, the disc. So after I turned the camera off, I continued doing that, and I've done that several times. Oh, it must have been about 8 times I've done that. And then I decided that I would just pick out parts of the circles to make other shapes. So as you can see, by overlapping circles, which was quite obvious really, we've got these leaf shapes appearing. Really lovely, I think. So I haven't stuck to the squares, as you can see. I've done it all over as one design. I've used chain stitch here to pick out the features of the circles. I haven't used all, I haven't gone around all the circles, but just part of them. There's feather stitch here, cross stitch, and I think that's all, and obviously the running stitch. I didn't use couching as I thought I would. I didn't think it needed couching. I've also used some straight stitches here and here, just for a little bit of added detail. These I've taken off a charm bracelet, hearts, and you can't actually see them under this light, unfortunately. You might be able to, but they are sparkly. They are shiny grey with silver flecks in them. At the side of the page, I have added green ribbon. I folded it. It was quite a wide ribbon. Folded it in half. Then I put it on the edge of the page, and I've done some running stitches down here, and then I took the circle and I've just done a little bit, the tip of the circle 3 times, and I've done running stitches here to give a little bit of a scallop shape, which hasn't come out. And that from here, looking at the screen, the ribbon actually looks grey, but it isn't. It is green. This is green as well, and it looks black. So it's the same ribbon here, once again folded and put at the end underneath the calico. Or I'm sorry, the calico's inside. I've used running stitch here to secure it, and then added herringbone in orange. I did that first, and then I filled in the gaps with herringbone stitch in green. Apart from that, I don't think there's anything. Yes there is, the lace. I put the lace in here exactly the same way as for this page here. So I sandwiched the lace between the calico, calico background, and the page with a nice thick, see how thick that is? I think that might be an inch. Yes, it is an inch. So I've encased the lace between the background fabric and the paper page. So that is that completed page. Until at the end, as I've said before, we will come back and re-look at the pages and add any finishing touches that we may need. At the moment, it's too early, I think, to finish off these pages because it needs time to settle, and this needs time for us to look at it again later on and then decide what we're going to do with it. Because as I said earlier on in the video, when you've been working on something intensively for several hours at a time, sometimes you can't see it for what it is. So you need a break of a couple of days, then go back and think, oh, I know what I can do. I perhaps need to change something, I need to add something. It's too soon at the moment, and I feel that one, I believe, is finished. I feel that one's finished. I feel really happy about this one. This one, obviously the embroidery is finished, but the page, the edging, and maybe the lace might need some embellishing. So I don't actually feel this page is finished, but once again, I need to step back from it for a while, for a couple of days, and then go back and see what changes I need to make. So that is that. So the next page will be, halfway through the first signature. So I look forward to that. So until the next time, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you have a, give it a try. So take care. Happy whatever time of day it is with you. Have a nice, safe day, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. Okay, now take care. Bye bye.